What's going on YouTube? It's KevinBo202 and welcome to 202 Tuesdays. For today's episode, I'm reviewing Eminem's album Revival. Typically 202 Tuesdays is where I review a single or one song, but you know that I have to get my opinion out on this entire album. Let me start this off by saying that somebody did send me the link in an email of the album 2 days before it came out, so I did listen to the entire album on December 13th, and then all of December 14th I was listening to the album, December 15th, December 16th, and today I was even listening to it more. So I'm not just like somebody that listened to the songs one time and then gave my thoughts randomly about the album. These are songs that I've actually listened to over and over again, and I wanted to see what would draw my attention, what songs really stuck with me, and what songs that I've listened to that I don't really listen to as much as the others. And I also want to start this off by saying, after the album leaked, people were messaging me saying that people were comparing the album to Relapse, saying that it was horrible, and just gave a lot of really bad reviews. I want to get this out there that I think most of the people that actually made reviews like that are Trump supporters and were extremely offended by all the things that he said about Trump and are just really butthurt. So me personally, I think that's why some of the bad reviews came out, again, because of butthurt Trump supporters. Now, I've listened to this entire album open-minded, not knowing what to expect, because both Walk on Water and Untouchable were two totally different songs, one about Eminem's career, and one literally on a whole different topic, cops shooting unarmed black people. So, of course, the first track, Walk on Water, I've heard so many times, and I've already reviewed it, but let me give my opinion on it again. I do think the song is really good and really important because it really does talk about Eminem's career, how he feels about it at this time, and that this might actually be his last album. He has to decide for himself. But I think the bars are really good. I like the piano playing in the background. It really makes it more of an emotional song, and I think Beyonce was a really good choice to have sing the actual chorus. And then, of course, at the end of the song, Slim Shady jumps in, and as I kind of figured, the end of the track actually does continue on to the next track, Believe. When I first heard the song, I was just like, wow, is this an actual Eminem trap song? That beat is totally trap and what Eminem was rapping about, and actually being kind of boastful about having money in his house. It really caught me off guard. But I really enjoyed the track, and the bars were really good, the piano beat was really dope, and the hook was pretty good too. And now here we are to the third track of the album, Chloroseptic. I'll be honest, I really wanted the 2 Chainz verse on this song. Back during the summer when news came out that Eminem was with 2 Chainz, they took a bunch of pictures together, posted them on Instagram. I was really hyped because I'm a big fan of both 2 Chainz and of course Eminem, and they're both two totally different types of artists. 2 Chainz is mostly trap, but people don't really understand that 2 Chainz is actually a really good lyricist. He has admitted in the past that he did dumb down some of his songs for hits because he really is a hit maker, but he also has some songs that are really about the bars and really good wordplay and stuff like that. So, you know, 2 Chainz and Eminem, that would have been so dope. I really do hope that somehow in some way the song does end up getting leaked. Mr. Porter from D12 and of course one of Eminem's producers said that there is a version where both 2 Chainz and Fresher actually have verses on the song rather than Fresher just having the hook and of course Eminem having 3 verses. So I am disappointed that Chloroseptic didn't have 2 Chainz again, and it would be interesting to hear Fresher's verse on it too. But with all that out of the way, this song is insane. The beat is so good, Eminem's bars are just so on point. Fresher, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, the hook was pretty good, but with Eminem's insane bars, the 3 verses, I definitely think this track is really good and one of my favorites from the album. Now on to the next track, Untouchable. I reviewed this song on 202 Tuesdays also, just like Walk on Water. This song was released during the pre-order of the actual album on iTunes, and I do like the song. I think the intro is really good. Just the way it builds up and the effects that they add to Eminem's voice, it really gets me hyped when the song starts. The bars are good, the story's told, Eminem really gets all the points across on the song. He hates how he feels about white cops shooting and killing unarmed black people. Eminem is of course a hip-hop artist, which is predominantly done by black people, and really, most of Eminem's friends are all black. It's really cool to see him stand up and support people, regardless of what his color is. I can't stand seeing stuff on the news and stuff about people getting shot that are unarmed just because the cop might be scared or panicked about something. The 5th track, River, featuring Ed Sheeran, is a pretty good song. Me personally, I'm not a big Ed Sheeran fan. Most of the stuff I really listen to is just hip-hop, but I have heard some of his music before, and I'm not surprised that Eminem is working with him because Eminem has been doing many songs with other pop artists as collaborators, and I totally think that this is going to be a single on the album, and even possibly a hit. It has that Love the Way You Lie type vibe to it. It's another song about relationships, but I do think it's catchy. The beat's pretty good. Ed Sheeran's a good singer. I think the song was good, and we'll see if it takes off on the Billboard Hot 100 and becomes a good hit. The 6th track is Remind Me intro, basically Eminem building up to the next song, and I actually am kind of glad that he made the intro off the actual version of the song, because if the intro started every single time, not that it's bad, but a lot of the times with songs that I listen to, I have to skip forward of the intro because I just want to get right to the song. So thank you for doing that. Not saying that it was bad, I think it was okay. Now I think Remind Me is awesome. This song was produced by Rick Rubin, a major producer that Eminem worked with on his previous album, The Marshall Mathers LP2. This song obviously samples I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and this song just gives me that funny classic Eminem vibe, just mixed with talking about women. But some of the lines are really funny on this one, and it's awesome to have humorous Slim Shady back on the track. The Revival interlude is okay, the singer does a really good job, and of course it's very popish, but the way it's sung was done very well, and I do think it's good. The next track, Like Home, featuring Alicia Keys, is about America, how Eminem feels about Trump, and how Eminem really does care about the people. To me, it is a pretty sad song because America is in a pretty bad way right now. Not just with all the things politically going on, but with what's really going on with the people themselves. How people keep fighting. Now we've got Kim Jong-un threatening to blow up our country. It's just in a pretty messy way right now. But for Eminem to do a song like this, I think isn't surprising because Eminem always gets his thoughts out on his songs. And I do think it's good. And Alicia Keys is singing. Oh my god, it is so good. She is so talented. Like I said previously, I'm not really a big pop fan, but I've obviously heard lots of her hits before. And just the way that she did the song, so much passion, it was just done so well. Bad Husband featuring Ex-Ambassadors. Eminem isn't talking about killing Kim this time, but actually talking about how he's sorry, how he feels bad about the way he treated her, and pretty much that he really does still care about her. This song is really sad. I mean, think about it. How many girlfriends have you heard about Eminem being with besides Mariah Carey that was made publicly? Not many. Now, everything with Eminem has always been on the low, but you can tell that he was really never in a real relationship again, like how he was with Kim. Not one that serious. I mean, Eminem's always talked about murdering females and how much he hates women in many of his songs, but it just seems like he hasn't been able to replace Kim. So for Eminem to make a song about the girl that really has meant so much to him, the mother of his daughter, I don't know, it's just really touching to me, and I think that it was done very well. First, Eminem apologizes to his mom on 2013's The Marshall Mathers LP 2. Now, 4 years later, in 2017, he's apologizing to his ex-wife, Kim. You can see that Eminem is growing not only as an artist, but as a person, and I think that this was just a really great track. Tragic Endings featuring Skylar Grey is another relationship track. Skylar Grey's singing on this song is so amazing. I really hope she continues to grow as an artist and becomes much, much bigger than she actually is, because I think her singing is extremely good. I would like to see her on many more hits. She's been featured on hits before, and she is so talented, so of course, I support what she's doing, and seriously, she really stood out to me on this track. There's a lot of great bars and a lot of meaning behind the song, and for that reason, I think this track is really good. And alright, the next track, Framed. This is one of my favorite tracks on the album. It really reminds me of 3 AM, or basically what Relapse would have sounded like without Eminem with the accents. I do think Relapse would have been praised so much more than it has been just because of Eminem rapping without the accents, though I have said before that I do think that Eminem with some of the accents on some of the songs wouldn't have been bad, but this is just like a taste to me of what it would have been without the accents, and I think it is insane. It's always awesome to hear a Murderous Slim Shady track, of course, and I mean, just some of the stuff he talked about is really insane, but it reminds me of Kill You from the Marshall Mathers LP, so this song really reminds me of the Marshall Mathers LP and Relapse put together. Great song, the beat is so awesome, the way the song builds up in the intro is really dope, and a line that I cannot figure out how Eminem is going to get away with saying is about Ivanka Trump. I don't know if you guys know, but back in 2003 when the song came out, which was called We As Americans, he said the line, "I don't rap for dead presidents, I'd rather see the president dead." There was all kinds of investigations done on Eminem because of that track, because they took it as some kind of threat against the president, but this line is really calling somebody out by name that's involved in the White House and said this, so I don't know, I hope he gets away with it, but my god, it was so crazy hearing it. I mean, when the beat dropped and he said the line, my mind was just like, holy shit. He says, "But dog, how the fuck is Ivanka Trump in the trunk of my car?" Before that line, he of course makes fun of Trump, and he really makes fun of Trump throughout the album. Again, Eminem being Eminem. Eminem gets serious about it on Like Home, and then of course Slim Shady doesn't get serious about it and just talks about killing his daughter, and later on flirting with Melania, but that's another song later on. For me, this is definitely one of the most listened to songs on the album. I've listened to this song so much, and it's really awesome to have that Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady LP classic Eminem back. To me, this song is going to be a classic. Nowhere Fast featuring, I think her name's Kiani. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the singing's good. It's cool how Eminem has the layers in his voice when he's rapping. Some of the effects are pretty cool, but you know, it's another relationship song, and I feel like there was a lot of them on this album, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just nothing I really expected from Eminem. I personally feel like this track might have been one too many. Then we have Heat, Eminem on a rock beat. Never a bad thing. Eminem really does butcher this track. Another one produced by Rick Rubin, and the bars are so crazy. A hilarious Trump diss in this track. I think the hook was good. I think the samples are great. Another great track. Now we are on to Offended. Offended is another one of the most listened to tracks on the album by me, and why, you may ask? The reason is because of the bars and that really humorous hook. This is another song that reminds me of the Marshall Mathers LP Eminem. It's always awesome to have Eminem have a humorous song again while also laying down some crazy bars. And the end of the song is done so fast. That part gave me a rap god type vibe. Eminem once again displaying his skills on how fast he can actually rap in a song. Need Me featuring Pink, another relationship song. It's not bad. I think Pink is such a talented artist. I do actually enjoy her singing, and she has collaborated with Eminem multiple times before, mainly known for the hit song with Eminem, Won't Back Down. Like I said, it's another relationship song, but I do think this one is good, and I do think that Eminem and Pink collaborating together is really awesome. Now we're on to In Your Head, which to me is like an alternative Eminem song. Another awesome build-up intro of the song. I think the chorus is really cool. Just the vibe of the beat is really awesome, and I do sometimes listen to alternative music, and I don't know, I just think that this song is really different for Eminem's catalog. There's something catchy about the beat, the hook. It just makes the song really enjoyable, and of course what Eminem's rapping about is career. That's important, and I think it makes up for a really awesome song. He also does talk about how he shouldn't have rapped about Haley so much in his song. He wanted to express how much he loved her, but instead it really just made her famous, and obviously he feels bad about that. Such a great track, and one of my favorite from the album. Now that brings us to the next track, Castle, and the 3 verses of Castle were supposed to be done like letters, similar to Stan, but not about Stan to Eminem, but Eminem to his daughter. There were supposed to be 3 letters that he writes and that she looks at when she's older. The first one is in December of 1995, right before Haley is about to be born. The second one is when she's about to be 1 year old in December 1996, and then one on December 24th, 2007, right before he overdoses. So the first one is basically about he doesn't know how he's going to be able to support her, but he's so excited to have a daughter, even though he's nervous because he doesn't have any money. The second part is when she's already born. He talks about her features and how she resembles both her mother and her father, and that he had Infinite come out and that people were dissing him. And he also says Infinite CD flop, but he reversed Infinite as Infinite CD. Now, as the Eminem collectors probably know, Infinite was never released officially on CD. It was only released on vinyl and cassette. Now, to anybody else that heard that line, they wouldn't even think nothing of it. For the biggest Eminem collector in the world, of course, in my mind, I'm just like, come on, Em. You have got to know that Infinite wasn't on CD. But he also said that he's going to come up with something different, but also that he had a vision basically about success and that he hopes that it comes true. Then, on the last letter that he writes, in an 11-year difference, Eminem has become one of the biggest artists in the entire world. Multi-platinum albums that ended up becoming diamond, tons of success, sold out shows, traveled the world. Everybody knows his name. He apologizes again about making her famous, and he says that he's on a slippery slope. You gotta remember that a year before, in 1996, Eminem's best friend Proof was shot and killed, and it really took a toll on him. It took his drug addiction to another level where he started popping pills way heavier. He gained a ton of weight. Like, a lot of people forget that Eminem actually got fat. He was eating McDonald's and all kinds of junk food all the time excessively while doing all these different drugs, and he literally blew up like a balloon. And for that reason, he had all kinds of health problems, and at the end of the song, he actually overdoses, and then you hear him drop. And the next song, A Rose, begins where the last one left off. After Eminem overdoses, he's now in a hospital filled with all kinds of tubes. When he's in the hospital bed, he's trying to make a fist, but he can't. He tries to scream, but it's not allowed. Even though nothing's happening on the outside, he's crying on the inside, and he basically reminisces about his love for his daughters and how he's so sorry and to be strong. He brings up his little brother and how he wants her to get married to the girl that he's with, and that he's sorry that he can't be there. He again talks about he can't be there for his daughter's graduation. He talks about his dad and how he learned a lot from him, which was basically that his dad told him what not to do. You gotta remember that Eminem's dad left him and his mom, and he also says that he wishes he could have one last heart-to-heart with his mom. But one of the main things that really is emotional and it can really get anybody sad is what he says about his best friend who was shot and killed a year before his overdose, Proof, aka Deshaun Holton of D12. If there was no Proof, there never would have been a Slim Shady. Proof had the idea of D12 and coming up with another persona, 6 members of a rap group that all have an alias, and as that alias, they can rap as crazy as possible, stuff that they probably wouldn't do in real life, but just off the top of their head, just the most insane stuff possible. And because of Proof, Slim Shady became a hit. Slim Shady EP got in the hands of Interscope and Dr. Dre, and because of Slim Shady EP, Eminem was able to become the most successful artist of all time. And along that entire ride, Proof was there with Eminem. Proof was Eminem's hype man. Almost every time they did concerts, Proof was on the stage with Eminem rapping with them. They spent so much time together when they were broke, and then while they had all this money from all the success of Eminem and D12. And unfortunately, in 2006, Proof was shot and killed. Like I said before, it really took Eminem's drug addiction to another level. The depression he had is really explained in the song, how he couldn't walk through the house without seeing the pictures, and it bringing up visions in his mind of when Proof was dead and Eminem was over his body. It is really just an emotional song. Eminem talks about when Proof gave him shoes when he was in high school. Eminem had a bunch of holes in his shoes, and that is really something that made Eminem's friendship with Proof such an important thing. Eminem does then say that when he was in the hospital bed, he could see Proof and he tried to walk to him, and he could feel his soul come out of his body as he was going towards Proof. Throughout the song, he's saying how he could see everything that was happening in that hospital room. He could hear what the nurse was saying. He could see his daughters crying with their mom. I mean, it is just such an emotional song. But the song ends with Eminem's heart starting to beat again. He feels like he guessed the cheat code of life. Somehow he was able to come back after the nurses already pulled out all the tubes in him and covered his face with a blanket because he died. His heart stopped beating. Well, then he comes back and he's saying he wishes he can rewind time like a tape. And then what actually happens is A Rose rewinds back to the last track, Castle, and instead of rapping one of the end lines the same, it entirely goes in a different direction because like he said on Castle, he's going to put out this last album, which was supposed to be King Mathers in 2008. But instead of that being his last album now, he says he's going to put out this last album again. But then he says that he put out Relapse, Recovery, the Marshall Mathers LP2, that he came back like a boomerang, and instead of at the end of the song that he overdoses, this time you can hear him take the pills out of a pill bottle and dump them in the toilet and flush it because he wishes that he could have just not done the drugs in the first place. To me, both Castle and A Rose are the best songs of the album just because it really brings you to a point where it's so personal. Eminem talks about the early stages of his daughter, where his career was right before he overdosed, and then when he overdoses and his experiences. There really wasn't a song like this before. Eminem has talked about overdosing and stuff before, but not like this. Really getting into the description of what happened. So for all the people out there that have been wondering, what's my opinion on the album? I think Revival is better than Infinite, Encore, Relapse, Recovery, and the Marshall Mathers LP 2. I think this is one of Eminem's best albums behind the Marshall Mathers LP, the Slim Shady LP, and the Eminem Show. And I am really surprised. Again, I had no clue what to expect with this album, but I didn't think that he would be able to pull out an album that had so much meaning behind it, so much different creativity, and something that's so different but still somewhat relevant in today's culture. Again, like how we did some of the trap songs. Eminem's career has just continued to grow on, and after Revival, I really don't know what's going to happen. Now, there was a lot of confusion where Eminem said that he's going to put out this last album. People messaged me saying that reviewers are saying that definitely means Revival is his last album. He wasn't talking about Revival. Again, he was talking about King Mathers, because after he says that he's going to put out this last album, then he says that he put out Relapse, Recovery, and the Marshall Mathers LP 2. How can somebody get confused with that? No offense to any of the reviewers out there, but some of y'all are really dumb. If you guys took that as Eminem saying Revival was his last album, and then he says he put out 3 other albums afterwards, you really need to listen to the lyrics more, and maybe, you know, turn your headphones up a little bit more. But again, Eminem said on Walk on Water, he doesn't know if this is going to be his last album or not, or as he said, his last bow this time around. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. As of right now, I'm going to continue to listen to the album over and over again. And I'm going to tell you guys my 5 favorite songs on the album. So my first favorite song on the album will definitely be Castle or Rose. Now, I know I said my favorite song as in one, but to me, these songs both intertwine into just one song. Castle, he's writing letters, and it ends with him overdosing, and after that, it connects with him after the overdose, being at the hospital, and then it goes back to Castle at the end of A Rose. The meanings behind this song, the beats are really good. I forgot to mention that the hook on Castle I thought was really good, and to me, these are songs that I've been listening to over and over again from the album. My second favorite is Framed, the bars, Murderous Slim Shady. How could you not like this song? This is classic Slim Shady. My third favorite is Chloroseptic, the insane bars, the awesome beat, the hook, everything about the song is just so hard to me. I really enjoy this one. My fourth favorite is Offended. Again, the bars, the funny hook in it, everything about it to me was just a really great song. And then my fifth favorite track is In Your Head, the alternative type Eminem rap song. Just something about the catchiness of the hook, the beat, and the awesome bars. It just really makes up to be a good track to me. I don't really think this album is great, but I think it's one of his best. There were some pop relationship songs that I really wasn't into, but overall, I do think this album is amazing. And to whoever said the album was like Relapse, or the people that are calling it trash, I don't know who these people are to disrespect Eminem. I mean, he put out songs about almost dying and his love for his family members and friends, and people are calling it trash. How does it sound like Relapse? That's what I want to know. Maybe you guys went on your phones and you went to put on Revival, but you accidentally put on Relapse and you didn't realize. So use your head a little bit more, and I think whoever said that is trash themselves. And if you watch this video and you're calling this album trash, I think you're a piece of That's how I feel. That's my opinion. Again, my opinion, it's definitely one of Eminem's best. I can't wait to see what the music videos are going to be and the singles he's going to choose. I think River is definitely going to be one, and I could see it being a hit again. Walk on Water was a hit. Beyonce with Eminem, of course. And of course, the meanings behind the song. Classic album. I really hope this isn't his last, but if it is, I definitely can understand why it would be with where he's at in his career. But regardless, such an awesome album, and I'm so hyped. I can't wait to just turn his camera off so I can listen to the album. It's only been 4 days since I've been listening to it, but come on. You know what? Let me just end this video now so I can hurry up and listen to the album again. Alright guys, that's it for my review of Revival. I'm KevinBo202. I hope you enjoyed the video, and peace out guys.